Hey everyone, good morning on this very cold day. Currently at the, I guess you would say salon. My mother's getting her hair done, so I figure I'll just make a video. I've been thinking about just training my son. He went to the homeless shelter recently and he was helping out, and, that made me very happy to hear because what I have tried to do on my end is to show him the importance of helping those that are, in need, helping the homeless, always thinking about the homeless. I tell him that, there's a lot of shelters out there that don't have room for a lot of the homeless people. And so we need to pray for them that, God can supernaturally cause them to be warm to where they're not going to deal with the cold. And I know God can do it because I had read in DC Talk and Voice of the Martyrs had put out a book, and I think it was called The Voice of the Martyrs, and it was a compilation of all the Christians that were persecuted for their faith. Well, there was one instance in there, and I think it was in, I don't know if it was Siberia or Russia or something, but it was an area that was very cold. And this man was tortured for his faith. So in order to torture him, they put him out in the cold. But God supernaturally kept him warm while he was walking. So God could do it. God can do the impossible. So I think having it in our minds to pray for the homeless, especially when you're in a cold area like I am, you know, we can't just live our lives passing the homeless and not helping them, not thinking about them. We must always do that. So that's something I tried to teach my son is, you know, God had told me, he said that when he's with you and you see somebody that is less fortunate, go and get them something to eat and drink and let him see that, you know, and that's what my son is, he thinks about. He asks me, Dad, can we get them something? And he'll ask questions about the homeless, and I'll do my best to try to answer them. But I never want to be a hypocrite, telling my son to go and do something when I don't do it myself. We lead by an example. And, you know, uh, it said in the Old Testament that to train your children as you get up, when you walk along the way, and such like that, so that they can see the example of what we have in our lives, our example of our love for the Lord. That has to be passed down to our children. And, that is what I am trying to train my son to do, because I know my own father. I remember he used to tell me, he said, Robbie, don't you drink or smoke, yet he did it. So, that's hypocrisy. And so I don't want to do that with my son. I'm not going to tell my son, you know, to follow the Lord when my heart isn't fully for him. You know, I want to lead by an example. I want my son to fall in love with the Lord like I do, you know, to have that same commitment or even a deeper commitment for the Lord, and so we really, as Christians, we don't want to be hypocrites. We want to follow God with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our mind, and all our strength, every part of us, to give him glory in all that we do and all that we say, to be a light in this dark world for people to see. And it's so very important as Christians that we do that. So that is definitely my prayer. Something that I've prayed to God for is, Lord, let my son have just even a deeper commitment than I do. To always follow him around, be with him, be the light to everyone that he's around. And it makes me happy when my son desires to want to help the homeless, when he wants to help the less fortunate. You know what he said? He said something that was so cute. He said, Dad, if I see a homeless boy there, I want to give him this toy. And I thought that was so awesome. So I really, on my end, I want to lead by an example. I want him to see me help the less fortunate. I don't want to do it, like hypocrites, doing it for show, letting people say, oh, he's such a godly person. And I've tried to teach my son that. I said, when you're giving, you make sure that no one is watching you. You do it in secret, and then the Father in heaven will reward you. So I really am trying to really give him the meat of the word at his young age. To I don't ever want to be a hypocrite to him or anybody else. I want people to see love in action when they see me. I don't want to be like a Pharisee. You don't do this, you don't do that, and yet their hearts were dark and they were corrupt. And I never want to be that. And God knows my heart. He knows that, my love is for him. And all I want to do with my life is glorify him. So I just wanted to share this video with you. Maybe you have children on your own that, you have the same heart. You want to show your love for the Lord without hypocrisy. So let's just think about ways that we can show the love of God to those that are less fortunate, to always remember them. If we see them on the street, what way can we help them? Can we hear at that moment, Lord, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to give them? Because those homeless people could very well be angels that are testing our hearts to see if our hearts are in line with God. So that's something that we always need to remember. So thank you for taking the time to watch. God bless you.